Hey there, Dark and Darker fans, and welcome back to the channel. Today is November 30th, and we just got hit with the patch notes for Hotfix number 22. We're here with Racked Focus. We're going to go through this and see what's new, see what we like, give it our critique, and we'll see where we're at the end. Alright, let's jump right in. Fix an issue where the after image of Wizard's invisibility did not appear. Fix an issue where Wizard's explosion would interact with unintended colliders and cause damage. Racked, how do you feel about this? You're the Wizard main.
Well, I'm a main now. Let's clarify that. I don't want to give anybody false impressions that I've been, P1 Wizard. No, I'm a current jumping on the Wizard train. But
Did you ever notice this one?
Yeah, I have. I've noticed some interactions, like where, I'm like, how did that hit that one thing? I thought I jumped over it, or I even noticed it with the ice bolt. I don't know if anybody out here, because I'm not seeing anything about it, like
right
the ice bolt or anything, but I've been noticing that it's a really wide area of effect that you're chucking at people, essentially. Missile that clips on other invisible textures that just aren't there. So
and fireball feels the same too. So there might be something with spells
definitely
on the Wizard in general.
Yeah, it's a W in my book. I'd like to see if my assumption's right, or if it's just desync on the fire, or excuse me, the ice bolt.
Right, we'll find out. Fix an issue where lanterns were recognized as weapons. I take exception here where they say fixed an issue where lanterns were recognized as weapons, because they left this implemented for so long. I think it was after we went early access, we started really seeing lanterns come out with Slayer Fighter.
Right.
They've had such an opportunity to fix this that I think that was in the game and they left it there. But now they're just recognizing that it is too powerful as is. They want to see the movement speed penalty on the Slayer Fighter come from the offhand. So rather than maybe nerfing sprint, which would affect other fighters, like plate fighters, this is just going to target that one style of fighter. So I think that's probably okay. We've seen a lot of Slayer fighters in Goblin Caves.
I feel like they should even broaden this to where the lanterns even proc abilities, so you can't just chuck a lantern at somebody. At the very least, for Achilles heel, you would have to have it with a throwing axe, or
well, this might actually do that, because it was counted as a weapon, right? And I don't think, does it a torch counts as a weapon?
I'm curious about that now.
So it might actually fix that. That's a good point.
Interesting. Yeah, but I like that change. I like it. Slayer Fighter is supposed to be, a Slayer. To give them two weapons. Let's see them dance around. See how good you are with those.
It might even get people to be messing with the interaction between dual wielding, trying to get the fastest, most DPS swing combination, as opposed to just holding mouse one.
Well, yeah, we've already seen some of that, with the whole bonk Slayer build, where you take a mace in one hand, and then you take a, it's Castilian or something with, the movement speed debuff is negatable, and they just go around pretty much bonking on the head. All the clerics know, we're looking at you, how easy that attack pattern can be once you really when you get it down.
Yeah, it's a nice one. Yeah.
I actually got wrecked by one of those Slayers.
You can tell that.
Yeah.
Regret in the voice. All right, let's move on. Fix an issue where the item information tooltip was not properly displayed when quest items could be canceled. Is that a thing? I have to read that again. Fix an issue where the item information tooltip was not properly displayed
I haven't noticed
when
that.
Quest items. I don't know what it means by when quest items could be canceled, but I haven't noticed it either, so hopefully that fixes someone's day. Fix an issue where purchases did not register smoothly when purchasing on an item multiple times.
That's a golf clap for me. That's a big W, and that was going a lot, trying to buy all your pots pre-raid,
potions,
and you're sitting there didn't I just do this?
Yep.
Hello.
For sure. So there's a W. Fix the bug with the final Tailor quest. The quest now properly requires 10 king kills instead of 1 where it's currently at. However, credit for the quest kills are now given to all party members. Can you imagine having to run 30 Ghost Kings for all of your group in order to get this quest done. And that's if you
that'd
get
be
down
insanity.
and like if you get the kill, etc., etc. So that is a quality of life win in the future. Barbarian's getting some changes here. Let's see. Barbarian's base vigor has been reduced from 30 to 25, so a little less health. But agility has been increased from 8 to 13, so they're gonna get a bit more movement speed. And I do notice they really are keeping those gear or the attribute scores equal. You lose 5, you gain 5. They never adjust the actual numbers. I wonder if that's kind of gonna hamper their ability to ever get classes exactly where they want them. But I guess they thought too much HP, not enough movement speed. Barbarian's Iron Will perk has been updated with the additional magic resistance increased from 60 to 100. We have not seen any Barbarians being used recently, but we have seen a huge uptick in the amount of wizards being used. So this 40 extra magic resist, that could be huge for the class, and we might start seeing Barbarians come back in a big way. How do you feel about that?
All I'm saying is my Barbarian friends, now that I am a snooty wizard and I am Shadow Wizard Money Gang, be prepared to be my conduit. That's all I'm gonna say.
There was some thoughts did come to mind with that whole explosion spell being added, that like you put it on the barb, they run in with that invisibility. You know, we're back to buff ball at this point, right?
About that not that long ago. Yeah,
there's
that
a
would be
potential.
cool. You know, forget buff ball. Welcome
buff bomb.
Welcome nuke. Yeah, buff bomb. Exactly.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Buff bomb.
You know, buff bomb with a conduit follow up. The right barbarian could live through it. I can already hear the barbarians like that are like the W key, like I'm invincible, I have 500 HP. Like I can hear them like drooling at their gamer chair right now.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, the next one, robust perk health increases from 10 to 15. So they actually didn't lose anything here. If you look at the vigor being reduced by 5, they get it back in the robust perk if they take it. So they actually just get like a net movement speed bonus in the agility. So overall buff
seems like
to
a
the
W.
barb. Yeah. Barbarian's rage skill now temporarily increases vigor by 15. I think that's because strength used to be, you know, both health and damage. Well, now they lost the health, so they get it back on the rage. So indirect nerf to rage has been fixed. Barbarian's blood exchange skill health penalty reduced from 30 to 20. Yeah, I think we've seen that. Yeah, Barbarian has fallen off the map right now. So hopefully we see like fewer plate wielding crossbow fighters, and we see a few more of the Barbarians out there.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see them on the board again.
Yeah. And we're into rogues. Dagger mastery perks physical damage bonus has been increased from 10 to 20. Yeah, 10 was never a lot. 20 is actually substantial. Thrust perk has increased from 15 to 20, so maybe an extra point of damage per swing there. Cutthroat from 3 to 5. And overall, those are just complete nerfs, or sorry, complete buffs to the rogue class. Is it enough for them to see a return? I think they're in a decent spot. I see them in high roller lots. I think they're mostly there for adventure points, not necessarily PvP, but like these changes are clearly intended to increase their damage and effectiveness in PvP. So you might see them a little more often based on this.
I just like how like they're slowly rolling back the changes, the massacre that they did to
rogues,
all the rats out there, you know, like me being a fellow loot goblin rat, you know, like, I mean, that makes me feel a little bit better. I'll mess around with it and see how it is, you know, like it basically, like rogue for me has just been a meme now. Like I'll go in, pickpocket, you know, drop caltrops, smoke bomb, mess around, point at people, laugh and VoIP. So it'd be cool to see them like be a little bit more I don't know. I'm gonna prevalent. let's move on because like I'm just like now getting PTSD from like other rogues that like,
well, yeah, you send them too far.
Like once they get, exactly. Once they have enough strength, you know, like they can basically
rogue
pop
is
any
instant death. So you buff them too much, it's going to be a huge balancing act all the way for Iron Mace on rogues. So we'll see where this ends up. Wizards
it's a
chain.
fine line between love and hate with rogues, so we'll see how that rolls out.
Wizards chain lightning spell damage modified from 35 across the board to 35 is the first hit, and then from there it reduces by 5 every time. So if you're playing something like Conduit Barb, your Barb takes the most damage, the enemy team takes the least amount of damage. And then overall, if you're throwing in Chain Lightning, just doing less damage. It was a very powerful spell, so I'm not surprised. Explosion spell damage decreased from 35 to 30. How do you feel about these changes, being our local wizard expert?
Local wizard expert, and again, you're hyping me up too much, sir, as the resident
you know way more than I do.
Wizard in training right now. Yeah. I mean, we talked about it. They saw it coming, you know. So like, it just reads that, like, you know, they're paying attention. They're like watching, like they're really watching for the cheese. They don't want their game to be cheesed, you know. Like it, and I like it, you know, regardless of like, oh, you're taking away the fun, you know, of this particular move. But like, having had run it with like some mates prior patches and whatnot when it was a little bit more viable, like they're like, nah, we don't want that to be a thing either. So but with that being said, Barbs can take it though. Like they'll be able to take that 35 hit, you know, like especially if it means that like everybody is already a one click, you know, and depending on how they build, they might be able to just like regen that health themselves, you know. I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, I think I like the change. Wizards are super popular right now, and whenever you get a flavor of the month class, I think you as a developer have to pay attention to why it is flavor of the month, and then usually toning it back is probably a good move.
Yeah, I feel like these balancing things are always going to be like, it's going to be a secular thing, you know. Sure. Like we're going to see everything come up and down, and like we're going to see the rise of the rogues again. Mark my words, we will see the rise of the rogues again, because
everyone,
you know,
gets their turn.
Right, you know, like I think we're all in agreement that, you know, like it's safe to, like, come on, Rangers, like bust them down a little bit. Let's make them feel it a little bit.
Well, let's finish this list first. Rangers might show up.
You know, they haven't felt that pain. I don't know. I've been scrolling a little bit.
No spoilers, no spoilers. That's fair though. Okay, well, Clerics real quick here. Clerics Holy Light now heals non-friendly targets. I mean, actually a mild nerf, possibly hugely impactful in a team fight though. If you miss that Holy Light, that's the big heal, right? That you can only use on other people. You can't use it on the cleric.
I'm not a cleric, man. But,
so if you hit the wrong person with that, it's gonna swing the fight against you. So clerics,
it only makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, work on your aim.
Yeah, cleric. I can hear some homies right now just like cringing, like
in the back. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh man. But clerics have been, you know, I still think that they're in a good place though, regardless. You know, like this is it makes sense. You know, like I'm like kind of hard pressed like to hear an argument against it. Like, you know, like I don't know. I feel like I, as a wizard, like playing wizard now, like what, like my spells, if I hit my teammates, or exactly, you know, like, so I don't know, you know, just it kind of makes sense. But
for sure,
Warlock though coming up.
Yeah, let's take a look at these Warlocks. Warlocks now start with the Falchion and Crystal Ball as default weapons. They're getting the book equivalent treatment that the cleric got recently. Most people really, I think, dislike the magic staff as the beginning weapon. If you choose to use a magic staff, it should be a choice, I think, as opposed to you have to start this way. I think the Falchion Crystal Ball combo is going to be a nice way to start as a Warlock. And remember that you can always just have your Falchion in your weapon slot 1, move your Crystal Ball to weapon slot 2, and you don't have to suffer that huge movement speed penalty with both the Falchion and Crystal Ball equipped. So I think this gives that flexibility, but also some dependable damage in Falchion that the Warlock needs right at the beginning before they can get geared up. Warlock's Power of Sacrifice spell also increases Vigor by 15, so that's just like the Barbarian's Rage, getting that unintentional nerf fixed. Warlock's Bloodstained Blade spells weapon damage increase improved from 5 to 7. I don't see a lot of Warlocks using it, so this might help them out a bit. Bolt of Darkness.
Yeah, it would be cool to see a little bit more playability or variety, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've mucked around with the Warlock Phantomize Flamewalker build, and it is fun, but it's just not viable compared to what else is out there. Yeah. Bolt of Darkness, 15 to 20. I don't know how much that is compared to like Ice Bolt, but I know that's a lot less than an arrow to the head, so I think you could increase that even more. I don't know if this is enough to give Bolt of Darkness Warlocks enough love, but it's a step in the right direction.
I feel like if they're gonna leave it as like a low HP pool, like or on a direct hit or whatever, you know, keep in mind like we have the multipliers on headshot damage or whatever, but like I feel like maybe they should it should gift the Warlock a tiny bit of HP, you know, to make up for the
cost of it.
Right. You know, like if you hit and land it, you know, it doesn't do much damage, you know, so you're not, but like you're rewarded as well, so it makes it a little bit more viable for people. Because then like I could see it actually being used like to like clear mobs, and like they can have a little bit other than like dropping their Hydra and like, you know, sucking the life out of it. You know, which is always funny hearing a Warlock do after you muck them up, and then they shut a door on you. And
Yeah. I think, although we do see, I think we're going to see an attempt here, as you're saying, to kind of get a different build come out. However, I also see the other side of Iron Mace's intention with Warlock, and it's to not make them a high damage from range class. I think they want Warlocks to inhabit that mid-range and melee range, and maybe, you know, fluctuate between it as the fight goes on. So it's a bit of a balancing act here again with the Warlock. They don't want to give them too much damage, but it needs to be relevant because they are still a spellcaster.
Right.
Let's see. Curse of Weakness. Reduction of all attributes improves from 20 to 25. I don't see too many folks run this. It might be run somewhere. Maybe it's good against a boss, perhaps, but that's not a huge change. Ray of Darkness, this is the big one. Spell damage per second increased from 6 to 12. Are we going to see it? What do you think?
Like full throttle. Like we need a. They're like, this is way too weak. There, let's double it. See what happens. Hopefully people will start using it. Right. Yeah. I feel like they're just like, we want you guys to use Ray of Darkness. I feel like that's what they're saying here. Like, please, for the love of God, use it more so we can have more data.
And I think so too. Just doubling it is. It's good on the low end without making it too crazy on the high end. They didn't change the scaling of it. It's just like, you can use this now as a base spell and it's going to be good. Let's see what happens. Soul Collector perks, dark magic damage increase per stack from 5 to 10. It kind of, again, doubled. Maybe they're giving it the exact same treatment. That seems pretty good overall, because isn't it 5 stacks going to go up to 50%?
Yeah. Because it stacks 5 times, right? So
yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, Soul Collector, I've seen like it's had its ups and downs from what I remember. Like it didn't work at one time, and then like it wasn't calculating, and so I know a lot of people were liking to use it if it worked. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see on that one. I do like this next one. Warlock's anti-magic perk. Magic resistance improved from 15 to 25. It probably is a feels bad moment as a wizard, seeing both the Barbarian and the Warlock getting magic resistance buffed. But I think it's, again, in response to the wizard being such a strong class right now. And I like the idea of there being hard counters in the game. They already exist. We know that Ranger is the hard counter to Wizard, for example, but now so is Warlock and Barbarian, so I guess we're gonna maybe it's a bit too much. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So as far as like how they've been having like the loot pools and everything, like I feel that they've kind of like I mean, with all the changes too, like keep in mind we have the AP system, the adventure point system, and everything now, and like, you know, the player base is kind of dispersed a little bit more than normals and high rollers. So the game feels like it's in a really solid spot right now. I feel like you can go out there and get the gear that you need to, like, you know, scale up your character to a point where, you know, you can get to like that god tier status where you feel like powerful. So but to the same degree, we definitely need to like bolster other classes to compete, you know, because like we do, like, as a collective, you know, like we only have a finite amount of classes right now, and it would be totally awesome to see all of them be viable against each other. Perfect world, right? You know, and you know, like equal counters to everything, you know, providing for a more, you know, expansive, you know, combinations. And, you know, I want to see less, you know, like meta stuff.
Yeah.
Like I want to see more, like, give me, like, I want to, like,
You want diversity in what you see in a
I hate
dungeon.
coming across it,
Yeah.
you know, like coming across three rogues in the dark, you know, sucks, but like you don't see that as much as you see like a cleric and a
Fighter
you know,
ranger combo. Yeah.
right, exactly, you know. And that's the one thing that I feel like they've been trying to do, like, and again, my heart goes out to Iron Mace on all these balancing, you know, this whole balancing act in general, because like it's a uphill battle all the way. So I don't know, like all these changes I'm for so far, you know. It feels like they're paying attention, they're trying to, you know, iron everything out. So I guess no pun intended there. But I like the next one though, with the Bardiche movement speed.
Yeah, a lot of the larger two-handers being buffed slightly, with the move speed penalty being reduced, by 5 across the board. Although in combination with Barbarians getting some extra agility and then moving or reducing some of that movement speed here, I'm a little terrified. Again, like is Felinax gonna make a comeback?
I should hope so, honestly. Like, I want to see like Zweihanders flailing around. I
It's
want to
true.
see people using Bardiches, you know, like I want to see the variety personally. But the one thing that I don't see here is currently like any longsword fixes.
Longsword's in a weird spot.
Yeah, I feel like that needs some love here, you know, eventually. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with the weird desync that we've been getting like on the servers, but that's a whole nother issue.
Right. It's just not worth to play defensively. It's just worth to get in there and click heads, you know? Yeah,
pretty much. So, but yeah, big W for all the two-handed enjoyers out there.
Yes,
I mean,
very big win.
It's not, yeah, that's actually gonna be huge. The move speed penalties. Oh yikes! That's gonna be like people are gonna be dropping their chests on the ground or in their in their bag as they're running, trying to run away from Zweihander Barbarian.
Well, I think specifically we're going to see the Felinax again, just because like the Zweihander and the double axe and battle axe,
the attack pattern on that thing is nasty.
Until they change those to be a bit more cave friendly, small doorway friendly.
Yeah, 40 to 35.
That I think it's the Felinax specifically that we're going to see again. But I think, like as you say, with the class diversity, I also want to see weapon diversity. And do I hate losing to a Bardiche? Yeah, I do. Especially when I get one shot by a Warlock using Blow of Corruption, but it makes the game more interesting. And just on a personal note, I have actually killed a few Barbarians recently using like double axes with just a rapier on my Bard, and I can outrange them. So
you can bait out their. It's a trade-off, you know, like. And I feel like with more weapon diversity, it's going to force players to like up their game. You know, it's going to force them to, you know, learn attack patterns better if they're going to like scale an AP. You know, it's providing, you know, a variety in ways that like people will have to learn and adapt to and grow. You know, so
like I'd love to see I come up on a fighter who's sword and board, and then he realizes the situation calls for his Bardiche. You know, I don't want to see a crossbow in every fighter's secondary slot. I want to see these like decisions being made and you being rewarded or punished being rewarded or punished, sorry, based on the choice that you made, as opposed to, again, the crossbow being always the choice. Yeah.
I feel like the issue with, since we're there, not to go too far off on a tangent, the issue with crossbow, if they were to just increase everybody's reload speed and leave it alone for the characters that could get like a little slight buff, you know, in which like that's their specialty, if you will, to where their like reload speed would be, you know, that it makes a little bit more sense for them to use, you know, because like, I don't know, like, yeah, it's a good opening shot, you know, to create a push, and it's an awesome deterrent for somebody pushing you on a quick shot, right? But I'm tired of having these like crossbow battles, you know, like lobbing crossbows. Everybody's just like, you know, they're taking turns. It's turning into Apex Legends, you know, we're taking a hit, we're bandaging up, we're potting up, you know, we're, you know, procking prop pots and everything, and you know, it's just kind of like this like ranged volley of nonsense when like medieval combat's at the forefront, you know, like, and with the movement speed buff, hopefully we'll see more double-handers going out there into the field and wrecking heads and like feeling that, because like that's the whole point, you know, like you swing slow, but if you hit, you should see that person go down, you know, or at least be able to have the movement speed to like be able to like keep up so you can hit them at least one more time or two more times, you know, whatever it may be.
Well, I think I do feel for Iron Hammer, like you said, with balancing, as soon as you start getting too many people one-shotting, that's when the Reddit complaints come out, right? So this balancing act
appropriately, this is what when I say that, all right, Reddit, like we're talking like fully geared, you know, like it's a spectrum of severity here, and we're talking at the max end when you're like looted out your mind, you know, optimal, you know, scenarios here.
Yeah. But it would be nice if these little changes, like you say, switch the game up just a little bit. Even that little diversity coming in, I think, goes a long way.
Right. You know, at the end of the day, we're not just here for the Dungeons and Dragons experience, but also like you kind of have to be, you know, into the whole medieval combat portion too, in order to enjoy this game. So yeah, bring out more double-handed weapons even, you know, let's see other medieval combat weapons out there too.
I would love to see it, like, ball and chain, on the cleric.
Oh yeah, flail, that would be sick, you know, like bring us more diversity, roll out the traits, you know, where we can specialize in certain things, and or maybe give us new options of new you know, like a skill set pool that we can even like draw into, you know, like if you have a flail, for example, on a cleric, maybe there's like a new weapon like move set that you can do that, I don't know, stuns or something.
You bring up a good point. You bring up a good point, and this was something that the community got really sick of this last couple months, was all of these adjustments to the numbers on weapons and armor, and there was so many balancing adjustments that we got tired of it, right? When the traits come out, and I think this is what they should really focus on, is get the trait system figured out. Because as you were saying, if you give cleric a specific trait, well, maybe clerics would suddenly like Zweihanders, and you wouldn't have to be buffing or reducing the effectiveness of the specific weapon. You could do it class specifically. So I'm kind of hoping that they get away from more of this adjustments to the actual weapons, and we start seeing the development of classes and how they interact with the weapons as they remain. When you adjust the weapon too much, let's look at rapiers. Rogues use only rapiers currently, right? Because it is the best option for them. Whereas if you tone
that creates
down
the most distance for them, right? And if you give them other options to create distance, then like we'll see different varieties.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think I'm looking forward to the traits coming out eventually, or the what do you even call it? My gosh, like the point system for leveling up and allocating points in a tree. There we go. Yeah, I think that.
I'm interested to see how they go about it too. I know they have their concept art that's like across the board right now that just kind of giving us a taste of it. But I feel like this is where they need to, like, by all means, like, take their time on it. You know, like, it would be personally, just from just thinking about it, like having a rollout where we're adding like all these new variables, you know, and then like having, you know, I feel like there could be like a tremendous opportunity for a lot of cheese there, or there being like creating like a new meta of sorts. So like, but also to another degree, you know, I do want to see that Dungeons and Dragons like vibe, you know, to you know, kind of tip the hat to what you were saying as far as like the, you know, narrowing it down like skill sets per individual with like, or with the classes and their like, you know, for example in Dungeons Dragons, like you get like a martial status on certain weapons, you know, and then you're more proficient in them, you know, yes. And so forth, and you know, you get extra cantrips and whatnot. So like, I would love to see how they adapt that, and like I feel like that's gonna be their big, like one of the biggest things for like the true Dungeons and Dragons, like you know, like aficionados that are playing this game, is like how do you adaptation that gives the player the feel like they can be anybody and do anything with like within their class, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like the variety here is like truly the spice of life for everybody, you know? So yeah, let's get it, Iron Mace, please.
Soon. It doesn't look like it's going to be in this patch, but we're almost. Yeah, let's get through the rest of these little notes here. Not a ton left, and we'll see what's still remaining for us. The Goblin Caves normal layouts have been added to the Goblin Caves High Roller. And I've said this a few times, especially because of the mining quests. There's really good mining to be had in the normal layout. And if you are just like someone who loves doing high rollers, it kind of isn't as fun thinking that there's better ways to get quests done just by switching to normal. So seeing it in high roller, I think is it's kind of a weird win, but it's a good one. It's a nice change. All right, this is a big one. The Ruins High Roller has been added. Elite and Nightmare monsters will be updated gradually. Adventure tier is tracked separately for the Ruins High Roller. What's your initial take on this one?
I'm sorry, it caught me in the middle of something. I was trying to do something really quick. The High Roller has been added. Oh, okay. Interesting. So let me get this straight. The High Roller has been added. Elite and Nightmare monsters will be updated gradually. Oh.
So it sounds like they don't have...
Ruins in general, dude. I need new additions, any new changes. I am pro. Or, you know, like, I feel like there needed a High Roller, you know, segment over there, because I'm tired of running into, you know, bissed out rogues.
It is a rogue haven,
right, on a what presumably should just be a normal run, you know?
Right. Oh, so that's a good point. With the addition of High Roller Ruins, there's going to be the addition of just normal ruins, which is under the same gear restriction as the other normal dungeons. So, like you were saying, there's now a place for you to go, and like kind of to the last point, there's now a normal place for you to go and do quests as a base gear, and you can maybe farm some gold without having to have those tricked out rogues and rangers, you know, living in their natural habitat.
Yeah, they can go fight amongst themselves and get sweaty.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's actually a kind of perspective I didn't realize on that one. So that's actually a pretty big win for the quest doers, right?
Well, quest doers and more casual players, you know, like part of the, like, we get to play a lot, you know, like it's what we do. And, you know, but like, at least in my community, you know, I'm friends with a lot of dads, you know, they have
we're out
kids,
there.
they got, right, yeah, you guys are out there, you know, represent, you know, and, but like with that comes a lot of responsibility, and the gaming time takes a hit, so they turn into either the weekend warriors, or they compartmentalize it through like a couple hours sesh, like here or there, you know,
right.
And talking to them and hearing how much they, you know, like they really want to play the game, but it's just not enjoyable because like in the 2 hours that they do get to play, they're just getting ran on, you know, by like these bissed out dudes. Well, it was presumably to them, you know, once we got like all the data and everything, it wasn't like that, like, but like seeing like a stacked out dude in like purples and blues when you're still in, you know, like you're just getting your greens together,
Yep.
you know, and you're like, ooh, this is bis, you know, like for you, you know, yeah, like, so I feel like that's going to be a big win for everybody, you know, especially Iron Mace, because like the casuals are going to be the thing that are going to carry this game into perpetuity, which is the end game, you know, like really we want this game to survive. We want this game to have a big player pool. We want more people coming in and feeling like, you know, yeah, you can be super, super sweaty and go be the frickin' best, right? But you can also get by, you know, like compartmentalizing your gameplay and chipping away here and there, you know?
Yep.
So big win, big win.
Yeah, I want to add to that. The developers, I think, are maybe respecting their players' time, and a lot of games don't do that. And I'm gonna throw Escape from Tarkov under the bus here, just briefly. A game like Tarkov, it does it does not respect a player's time. Your investment is your half hour, your 45-minute investment into like a single raid can be gone in one bullet, and that feels very bad. As like you're saying, people with reduced or just limited, amounts of access to the game and to be able to progress in it. So I think if Iron Mace can add ways of playing the game that respects people's time, I think they're only going to find more and more people will be attracted to their game. And as you said perfectly, the casual player base is how a game survives long term. So I love seeing changes like this.
Yeah, as far as all of that goes, like, I mean, like, we see eye to eye there. This is a big win for there's the casuals in general. As far as BSG is concerned, yeah, like, they've already felt that, you know, like, they felt it because the community started dropping off, you know, like, but to a degree, like, Iron Mace's ace in the hole has always been, especially me, for me personally, has been their, you know, like, their champion, like, persona of, for the community. You know, like they came out, I remember getting into this in P1 and reading their, like, this is what we're about, like their calling song, you know, like their ethos, their everything, their mission, their brand, their statements, and like going through it, you know, and I was like, I feel this, you know, they want to champion a decent game where, you know, like it invokes some bit of nostalgia, but it's current and it's epic and you're going on adventures with your friends and, you know, like, it's fun at the end of the day, and you know it's accessible and it's available and inclusive. So but also, you know, with that in gamer land, you know, the exclusive, you know, needs to be listened to as well, and I think they're doing a bang up job so far as like trying to balance all of that, because like to one degree you have a fraction of the player base, the, you know, 1%ers, and then you have the rest that are basically the everyday Joe. So
W for the Joe.
Big time.
Right. All right. Adventure Point entrance fees for each map has been adjusted. We have slightly reduced the AAP entrance fees as we were seeing less than 1% of High Roller players able to reach the middle rank of Pathfinder. So Pathfinder is the rank before, and I don't recall the rank that it's actually named. It's before the rank where you get the exclusive skin. So we're seeing less than 1% of all High Roller players they're unable to get to the skin rank. They are stuck in the middle of Pathfinder. I'm going to give Iron Mace a bit of a break here. This was their first pass at this system, and seeing them come out very quickly and try to adjust the numbers to allow more access, again, respecting players' time again here, or respecting their investment in this particular note as well. I think this is a good change, and we'll see people getting less stuck, hopefully, and then moving on up into the ranks where maybe they feel like they belong, or it just feels better, but specifically, hopefully getting the reward that they offer every season.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very respectable change on their part. You know, another nod to like, hey, we're watching, we're listening, we're gonna, you know, we're gonna do right by you guys. So I feel that, Iron Mace. Thank you.
Ooh, and
Because yeah, like I thought for a second, we were just it just makes sense now,
right. And
So,
actually,
and also it's a get tested on, right?
yep. And I think
We all know what time it is.
I was wrong about the rank. Sorry, I was thinking about adventurer. I think that's where I was thinking that's what Pathfinder was. So Pathfinder is the rank where you get the skin.
Right, Pathfinder is, and then
Right.
there's Wanderer before that,
Oh,
I believe.
Wanderer. Okay, that's what it is. Sorry. So
Yeah,
that was my
Wanderer.
apology. Yeah. So we're gonna hopefully see people get up to Pathfinder much more now, and get that.
Well, yeah,
Get that skin.
this is to be like. Honestly, I kind of expected something like this to happen, especially if this was their first time like rolling out a system like that, like a ranked system. Like they didn't have intention to do it, if I'm not mistaken. They just kind of like wanted it to just be the dungeon crawler that it was, where anything can happen, and if you make it to the top, so be it. But like they're listening to people across the board again, so they're being very diplomatic about their changes, I feel,
Right.
So more W's from them.
Yeah, things are feeling good so far. Adventure points gained from adventuring and killing monsters is now split between the party. Adventure points gained from treasure upon escaping are still calculated individually. That's going to feel good for your clerics and wizards especially, who have to spend more time regenerating spells and sitting down. They're likely doing less looting. So this is going to feel better for the group. And you're probably going to be seeing more adventure points as a result. So with the adjustment to the entrance fees being reduced slightly, if you play in a group, you're likely going to see just more adventure points for every member of the group. Yeah, we're going to see some folks moving up that ladder of the ranks pretty quick, I think. Oh, and
I hope so.
Yeah, personally I hope so. The curve table used to calculate the amount of AP for a PvP kill has been slightly adjusted upwards, so killing an enemy player will give slightly more AP. Well, I mean, we get 5 right now for a PvP kill, so I don't know if slightly is much of a change. I
feel like we're not gonna really feel this, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have to scout our points a little bit more, see how it does.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, after getting like a triple kill or something like that, or like racking up like 4 kills in a raid, and then you go out and you're like, oh wow.
It's a little underwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, I thought the loot's epic, sure,
Well, and I think that's what they are taking into account, is that if you kill someone, you actually get their adventure points in the form of their loot, and like taking things like rings out of the dungeon, like jewelry, I think is like a huge number of adventure points.
Okay. I would actually like to see a breakdown. I wonder if anybody's done a breakdown of like how all the adventure points are like with every item in the game.
Maxing, yeah. There's a YouTube video coming somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I can't wait. I will definitely like it, subscribe for anybody who did that.
Right. Not gonna do it myself though. That's a lot of work. All right. Added alchemist and surgeon quests. Cool. Hopefully, I mean, I wish those had been implemented right away, because people are like so into the quest lines already. But I don't know. Probably fine.
I mean, I'm gonna cut them slack. Like I feel like adding quests as you go is better than like pulling a BSG and like, no, you finish your dinner first before you get more food. Like at least like for the sweats that are out there now, they have like I'm sure there are people
like
out there that
done.
are like pretty much done, right?
Yeah.
So they're looking for something else to do. I say go ahead, like keep it coming. If it makes sense, sure. And then next wipe, they'll all be there just the same. I would actually like to see them while we're on quests though. I'll let you continue, sorry, and then we'll touch base on it.
Sure. We'll do a wrap up at the end. Credit for quest kills are now credited to all members of a party. All right, so we're seeing that the Lich King kills were going to be added,
right,
we're going to be credited to all members. So this is actually just all the kills, and I think the biggest outlier here as far as quests went was the Mimic quest. Like, whoever got the last hit on the Mimic was a very happy person. So that's a nice one. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that they're recognizing that it's a group adventure game, and there should be, a little bit of hint of communism there.
Yeah,
Our adventure
exactly.
points, comrade.
Yeah.
Like it makes for a better gameplay loop, honestly. Like there are gonna be a lot less like salty gamers, that are feeling like, why do you always get the good one? Kind of a vibe. And
Right, right.
now like they can focus on just adventuring, and like getting the dopamine all at the same time.
Right.
So
Yeah, feels good for everyone. All right, items that can be purchased and crafted have been adjusted according to merchant's affinity. In general, rare quality crafts unlock at 50, etc., etc. I thought that was kind of in the game already, but now it's just been specifically stated, so that's cool. Traps and throwing weapons are now available from the woodsman in limited quantities, even at the neutral affinity. That's a fairly big change, specifically traps.
yeah. I don't know, like having done the whole Ranger main thing, like I was honestly cool with not having traps at like my every whim. Like it made me scared of the dungeon again, which they need to be. Like
Right.
running around as a ranger with a million traps up your butt and then just placing them everywhere, knowing that you can nuke anything down around you as far as PvE goes, and then making your little, forest of Teemo shrooms that lock people down, is asinine. Like, make them earn it. Make them earn those trap kills again. And I've already been that ranger, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like it's a cheesy mechanic that like that's their crux basically. Like everybody's hinging on it, like there's only very few people out there right now that can make Ranger look like a truly fun like character, like outside of just trapping. So I don't know, I'm gonna cool it on the Ranger hate now. But
It is interesting that it is limited, so that to me means every half hour the shops reset and you'll be able to buy whatever's in there again. So, probably only 2 or 3 more traps, probably maximum, I'd imagine. There is a fair amount of traps to be found in the dungeon, especially the
right,
crates
it
and
felt
boxes
good
and
though.
stuff. It did feel good, I think, for your ranger to be like scrounging through the dungeon. Like, I actually kind of liked that, but I also see like you shouldn't have to depend on your organic loot to access class features. So that doesn't necessarily mean traps are a good mechanic. You might disagree with them or think that they're great. However, you shouldn't have to depend on the dungeon being generous in order to access your class's full potential. So I could see why adding some traps back could be, it's fine. We'll see where it's at.
I don't know. I'm gonna put my foot down and say, "Miss me with that." We can go on. Make them earn the bear traps. Every bear trap that I've been getting in raid has been like. I feel like when they made that change, it was a positive change, and they had the loot table correct. And specifically, I mean, I'm speaking in the sense because I was playing more Gob Cave with Ranger, and in the Gob Cave, I would come across like my fair share of traps. Like it made me play a little differently, which felt new to me, which is like, crap, I used all my traps, I have to clear out PvE really, really quickly and like loot up as quickly as I can to try to find that 1 or 2 trap and like listen for the next incoming player so I can set up an ambush. So cool.
Right.
I don't, but yeah, I'm playing Wizard now, so I wanna see the Rangers get knocked a couple of pegs. Maybe a rogue. I'm not saying a rogue treatment, okay? But
Yeah, there's a whole
anyways,
video for itself. We'll move on this one.
seriously.
Yeah. All right, merchants will now sell epic items at the highest affinity. Well, they had actually just removed
Makes
their
sense.
ability to have epic items. I didn't realize that, but yeah, makes sense, totally. Remove the limited stock for crafting ingots and powders. So you couldn't craft more than a certain number between shop resets?
I guess.
I hadn't done enough
I'm not much
crafting.
of a miner. Yeah, I haven't been crafting or mining too much.
I
But
wonder
I
if...
do feel
Well, I
like we're gonna
wonder...
see more people mine now because of the quests. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wonder if it had originally been implemented as a way to like limit the number of like gold farmers or something, like from being able to sell that
yeah,
kind
like
of
maybe RMTers type of a deal.
Yeah, I can't really think of a good idea for limiting those from the get-go, but yeah, okay, you should be able to make them as often as you want if you have the ingredients, sure. Speaking of
Yeah, I mean,
ingredients,
you would think.
yeah, speaking of ingredients, silver coins for silver ingots down to less than half of what was required earlier. Hope you haven't lost too much of those. Reduce the amount of silver coins required for silver powder down to 90 from 120. Reduce the amount of ore required to create ingots. This is kind of big actually, from 5 to 3, and powders from 3 to 2. Wow. Mostly I just hope you haven't done those ingot quests already, because this could have saved you a lot of time, money, or effort.
First thing I want to say is if you did complete this quest already, fucking A, man.
Good for you.
You guys are true gamers.
Yeah.
Amen.
Dedication.
But you know what? Also, thank you, Iron Mace, for making my life easier right now.
Right.
So I'm cool with it. Considering that I swapped characters, but that's a whole nother story.
Ooh, that is a fair point. And we don't see anything here yet, I'm pretty sure. There's only a few notes left here, but the quests are remaining per character. They're not account-wide. So, you know, we talked about respecting players' times or their input to the game. I think specifically for quests, it's still a little on the onerous side for people who can't play all day, such as like streamers. But I don't know. This is a step in the right direction, though.
Yeah, I think as far as like per character questing, I feel like that's gonna make a lot more sense later down the line when Iron Mace rolls out their, you know, their tech trees and, you know, the whole other aspect of where, you know, like we can really start digging into what it means to be like this particular type of cleric versus a bonk cleric, or like a full healer pocket mercy kind of a vibe, or even, you know, like whatever they do with ranger or rogue, or, you know, like, you know, I mean, like fighter's always gonna feel like a GI Joe of all capability, you know, but like I'm sure they're gonna get more rewarded for, you know, their efforts in certain degrees. So I feel like that's where, you know, I'm gonna main X is really gonna shine, because like getting all the extra points and XP, you know, is gonna give you that little extra touch that's gonna probably put it over the board, you know, versus a normal fighter if you're a fighter main.
Yeah, there's something about character progression that hasn't been fully implemented yet in the game, so maybe leaving quests individual to characters is part of their long-term plan. It's hard to say, but yeah, for the moment it does feel like, oh, I have to do all these quests again if I want to, you know, be a completionist. Yeah, that's just but yeah,
that was just like my hypothesis, if you will. You know, I feel like it all makes sense, you know, like in a few more patches here.
Yeah. I like this next one. Significantly increase the amount of gold a merchant gives when they buy higher grade weapons and armors from the player. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Because right now, like, you're just dumping gear that is obviously not going to sell, and then you're even taking a risk on gear that you think might sell, and then it turns out it doesn't sell, whereas you could have just brought in like 4 more trinkets or pieces of treasure, right? So hopefully,
yeah, this is just a solid quality of life right there.
Exactly, yeah. And then on that note is probably also if it's significantly increased the amount of gold, that's actually probably a significant buff to adventure points as well.
Okay.
Right, like attaching this to
more gold amount to I could see that. That is how the math works out. I'm not completely keen on how all that breaks down, but it should. You would I see it.
I see it. I'm down. That's a W. The leaderboard now shows your rank and total score. I like that because I like to see my rank and see how bad I actually am. Right now I can't tell how far down the list I am, so you know, a little bit of a win.
Okay.
Yeah. The trade channel has been streamlined with a single general weapon and armor channel. I think this mostly is affecting like fighters probably, who felt like they had to go to like wherever to find what they were actually looking for. But there were also some other cases of like the spear is probably one of the biggest ones. Rangers would have to go to the fighter channel for it. Like, what? Or
Right.
if you're looking for a bow as a fighter, you're going to the ranger channel. Or sometimes you didn't know if you should post something in barbarian or cleric, if it was like the two-handed mace, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So this is going to be nice for everyone.
Really, because they already gave you the capabilities to be able to like input, you know, and filter out everything that you want down to the added perks. So, you know, giving us a general weapon armor, super simple, easy. Punch in what you want, it'll filter it out. You don't have to do the whole, you know, popping Adderall and drinking a bunch of coffee just to keep up with chat. So
Right. It will actually reduce the amount of clutter in every class-based chat there as well. Yeah. Added the friend system. Probably the biggest change in this patch. You'll need to create an account name when you first log in. So if you're a streamer, log in pretty quick. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. This account name will be used to search for your friends. Cool. So cool. I wonder though, like when you see someone in dungeon, especially high roller, you can't see their names, right? When you kill someone or when you are killed by someone, you can see their names by viewing, I think. Or spectating.
Like if you're dead, but spectating, yeah, you can view.
So it's not going to be like super easy to find people's names in some ways, but it's a step in the right direction of like you had a really great interaction with someone in the dungeon, like the VoIP was super fun, whatever, you made a friend. This is going to be, huge.
Yeah, making friends in this game, you know, like shouldn't just be restricted to the dark and darker Discord. Not that it isn't a wonderful place that is general chat and and the LFG. But this will actually, like, you'll be able to actually make like more organic and like real friendships through this way, because like whether it's just like, you know, you sweat it all over each other and, you know, you're like good fight at the end,
right?
You know, to becoming friends, or, you know, the RP in Gob Cave because you're a broke homie that's just looking to scrape together a couple of gold pieces, you know. I think that's a big one and much needed. We've been needing it since the jump. So amen.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Iron Mace to finally putting that in.
Well, and I think it's also indicative of their capacity as an organization. I think they were really hoping to get back on Steam and just use Steam Friends, but this actually tells me a few things. Like, one, that they have the internal capacity to actually add systems like this now. I think months ago they just didn't have the people. We know that they've moved, I think, recently. We know that they did a bunch of hiring. So hopefully we start seeing these systems added more often as they're needed and not months down the line. But also, if they actually took the time to implement the friend system, I'm guessing we're not going to be on Steam anytime soon. That's probably a large extrapolation and it's nothing official, but that's my little hot take on it.
I think it's not as hot of a take as you're making it seem. I mean, feel like that's a slightly fair assumption there. I mean, from, you know, knowing how business factories work and such. They're growing, you know, they're utilizing their money to continue this growth, and that's exactly what we want as like consumers, right? Like, we want to see our money being put to use for the things that we were promised, you know, initially to get us hooked into their game. And so, you know, like, for me, this is also another thoughtful and continued effort for them to like solidify their name as developers, as like, we're doing our part. Like, we say we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it, you know. And however small this one is, you know, like, out of the list of everything, this one is the biggest one to me, honestly, because like that's gonna be again, going back to the, you know, the regular Joe, the everyman player, you know, every woman player, you know, the ability to make friends in a game like this is massive, and it transcends so many things, and I'm just gonna leave it there. And so just really good to see that they're putting, you know, the money where the mouth is, so to speak, you know. So right on.
And on a personal note, it's going to be real nice for the people I play with to not have to invite Dryfire TV, Bard, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, what's the...
Dryfire Elite Speak, TTV, by the way, or... You know? I feel that.
And just regardless of which character you're currently on, because sometimes you play different characters, they're named differently, you can just invite someone, like, quality of life. Thank you, Iron Mace.
What's the name of your barb again? Little Doinkies?
Yeah, Little Doinkies. Oh. My goodness. Japanese and Chinese languages are now supported. Let's go. And due to changes in the file system, the size of files to be downloaded has temporarily increased. All right. Well, my M.2 drive hates you, but okay, we'll be fine with it.
Yeah, I think as the game grows, we're gonna see all of our packets we're downloading increase over time. We know this. Hopefully this is on, kind of something that they're already looking like far in advance on, so we're not having to deal with COD-like downloads. Please, for the love of God, I don't want to be downloading 150 gigs of anything. I don't care how good the game is. Lordy. It's ridiculous.
Right.
But jokes aside, it's this has been a pretty cool patch so far. A string of patches, actually, so...
Right, yeah. I think we said this once already. I think everyone's just glad that they're done with the balance changes to gear and weapons, and, like, that's all they were doing. To give them credit, they were dealing with, like, their lawsuit, and they didn't have employees that they have now, but there was some frustration in the community, and just seeing these types of changes come out, and not just changes, additions to the game, is super refreshing. I think they're gonna harvest a lot of goodwill from the community, and I think they're gonna be back in a place of Iron Mace good, maybe even no more Iron Hammer.
I don't think we're ever gonna see the Iron Hammer meme go away. I feel like it's just like, it's endearing, man, like, especially for how passionate this gamer community is, particularly speaking the dungeons, the dark and darker community. We're all very vocal, we're all slightly opinionated, or at least that's what Reddit would have us believe. But at the end of the day, I really do truly believe that everybody that has been holding the line is still here. We're still playing, and if they continue, this upward trend, it's no longer, earning something back. It's just a continuation of everything that we already knew that they marketed themselves to be, right?
But yeah, let's wrap it up for the moment on Hotfix patch number 22. Big win, I think, for the community overall. I think we're going to appreciate what's coming from Iron Mace, and I can't wait to just get in there and add you to friends.
Me too, man. Me too.
Right.
That's a big feels good right there.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming out, man. Catch you later.
Cheers.
And that's it for now. Thanks for any likes, comments, and subscriptions. I appreciate your engagement with the channel. See you in the dungeon.